Hi, guys. Good morning. My name is MJ. I'm the founder of Love, which is a spiritual lifestyle brand online primarily. So I work with people online coaching, and I have this channel, and I do online yoga coaching for people. And I also create online courses. I collaborate with other people. I run yoga and transformational retreats. And this has ultimately been my path and been my guided journey since I was 19 years old. I am 37. Why am I sharing this with you? Well, sometimes it's good to get to know people a little bit before you just start listening to all the gobbledygook they're talking about. Um, I come from a small town in Canada. Let's get to know MJ. I um I started teaching yoga in 2008. Ultimately, because life weren't working out the way I was expecting or wanting it to, and yoga offered a path of self improvement, a tangible path of yeah, improving the self. And 10 years on from that yoga career, I took more leaps back in 2016, and I published a book called The Fearless Life Guide. And I made a shift from teaching yoga full time to pioneering this online business. I attended something called Awesomeness Fest, or A Fest, which some of you guys in this well-being or self-improvement world will come across some adverts on YouTube by someone named Vishen, and he runs a company called Mind Valley, which also hosts this Awesomeness Fest twice a year. Anyway, I haven't been following the actual Awesomeness Tribe stuff, but in any case, I learned a lot about pioneering online brands and blah blah from from Mind Valley, from the A-Fest experience, and over the years from other healers and teachers. Christy Murray Sheldon, I did a course with her. I did a course with Sam Isadora, and I've done a course, manifestation course with Dr. Joe Vitale, and worked with healers and teachers that are, I guess, less well known but are very extraordinary at what they do. So I've done energy healing courses, and that's basically attuning to like intuition and broadening, I guess, your awareness landscape so that you can work with other people's intuition and other people's energy body. For a lot of us as empaths, it's a really wonderful thing to work a mixture of online and in person, because sometimes the relentless drive of our false economy tends to create this sort of, yeah, insanity around our working life. And the balance here is how yoga, and the ultimate teaching of yoga is like rest in peace, yo, like just chill to the max. And yet we're trying to fit yoga into this mechanistic worldview, into this kind of intense working paradigm, which I would say a lot of teachers at some point in their career, they tend to break free. They tend to make a shift, whether they go on to teach teachers or whether they set up a center or a school, but for any of us teaching 4 5 6 days a week, 6 7 days a week, or wait, what did I say? I was teaching like 4 to 6 classes a day, 6 or 7 days a week. And obviously anyone doing that will just burn out. But sometimes when you've never made any money and you finally start making money doing something you love, you get a little bit excited about like maybe making the money. So if you're new to this channel, I'd highly recommend having a bit of a peruse, having a bit of a look through all of the content. Something that Alta Love as a brand is known for is like authenticity and just being yourself. Because increasingly, with the rising awareness of the empath, when you're not yourself, it's fucking obvious. So yeah. So we're living in this sort of age of transformation via this mess and chaos of bombardment of information. And then transformation, I would say, is ultimately the rise of compassionate, but also authentic leadership. So we're busting as a collective, we're busting through the veil of like a false light. And well, ultimately, a false economy as well is weirdly part of the same thing. Part of our delusion in separation is to do with the economy. I talk about this like the elephant in the room in a lot of our causes, social welfare, blah, blah, blah. Everybody hooks into these randomly divisive causes because they've come out of the fear paradigm, and then like tries to get everybody on board to fix the causes, but there's an inherent paradigm shift in the in the human energy field. So rather than all of us going like fix this and fix that and go sort those people out, we instead meditate, get clear, and heal, so that you can actually embody like the truth of your lightness or the truth of your being, and then shine that, like be that. All these fancy words like shine bright basically just means be yourself. um be grounded just means like you're in your body, you can feel stuff, you're not like off in la la land, or not that that's la la land, it's just as valid as this la la land, as in the 3D reality. 3D la la land, 4D, 5D, blah. I don't tend to go into dimensional talk, because in truth, the awareness that I feel into is all here now anyway. I can maybe like pinpoint a 12th dimensional aspect of myself, but most of us are in this earth realm. So I'm like, okay, how does that, am I going to collect something that's going to help me out right now? If that's the case, fantastic. Just like anything, imagine, visualize, vision it's fun. It helps us to embody those higher vibes, and or I just like to put it down, even though I talk like this in the book, like it's just better feeling. You're just a better feeling human, which puts those across, and then actually maybe hopefully eventually starts to encourage and assist other people into their better feelings. So share with you something. This is my process, this is what I talk about in the book, but being increasingly discerning with energies that we pick up from within. And one of them for me was this subtle resentment, this kind of like I was obviously having, okay, heading into premenstruation or whatever, and having maybe not the best day in the world, like starting to feel a bit, and then noticing somebody just running through the street, and I felt it. I felt this sort of like resentment, and it was a vain resentment, but it's one that has sort of plagued me most of my life, and I just felt, yeah, jealousy or resentment. But fortunately, I was in a fairly spacious environment where I caught it, where I could see the resentment, and I was like, interesting. So there's this block, there's this thing in me that I can't see, or I choose not to see, and I put it out there, i.e. I fixate, and or the resentment obviously was born out of a false belief. And that's sort of more to do with stuff that we talk about here around like a belief of undeservingness, of it's okay for some but not for me. Like for so and so they can be happy but I can't be happy, or well, they're blah blah blah, their parents did this, or well, look at them, or yeah, just the comparative analysis, the which and comparison, dare I say, never really lifts people up. Like I sort of feel like comparison is always a icky feeling, certainly for me. I can only really speak for myself. And I'm saying that being like, can we only really only speak for ourselves? Yeah, truly, truly. Except we can speak for the voiceless. We can speak for the innocent, which is another thing that Ulta Love as a brand really advocates. We sell courses that help people transition to zero waste lifestyle, transition to vegan lifestyle, unplug from mainstream media in the first case. Eventually, we're all going to be unplugging from some of this incessant social media. And spirituality simplified. So those four pillars: zero waste, veganism, spirituality, and unplug. Those are like the four pillars of establishing this sort of new way of being, where you become a clear channel, access your creative expression, and then actually channel that creative expression so that you can pioneer your highest good, and then embody the highest good and express that highest good out into the world. So that's um, a big piece of Ultra Love. And all of it's really come out of this intuitive space as far as, yeah, making conscious choices to improve my life or to improve the state of affairs. And all of it ultimately was that kind of selfishness, but born out of the being guided by the paradigm shift, essentially, since I had these spiritual awakenings when I was 19 years old. Not that I knew that they were spiritual awakenings when I was 19. I just, like, a lot, especially when it comes to like the system and the false economy, that stuff like blew my mind. So I had these cosmic dreams and spiritual awakenings that basically like made it so that I saw through the veil and many, many veils of the system, the false economy, and the kind of political agenda linked to the false economy, and then the media propaganda. So I had this like awareness where at 19 years old I sort of assumed like everybody did, and then I went through this whole journey of like persecution and ridicule and people thinking I was crazy and all this kind of stuff. And yeah, I was really, yeah, just off. And then eventually, slowly but surely, and certainly with the yoga practice and the spiritual practice, eventually you kind of break through the veils that you're carrying yourself, I guess, break through the masks that you're wearing. And then as you break through the masks that you're wearing, the world begins to reflect more of the I would say like the earnestness that most of us are uh beginning to tap into. So, with increasing spontaneous awakenings across the collective, and by collective, I just mean like a mass grouping of human minds and human hearts, and all this awareness. So, I talked to you about me having these awakenings when I was 19. That's a perspective shift ultimately increases our awareness. Okay. So, we'll have a greater sense of self. We'll have a greater sense of connectivity with everything and everyone around us with awareness. It's like anything, any issue, any problem. We can't unstick that problem until we are aware of it. This part of the manifestation of physical illness is making us aware of something, making us aware of a certain habit or habit of thought, more than likely, that we're perpetuating, that's creating the illness. Of course, most of our mainstream media has completely neglected that. We're not indoctrinated this way. If anything, we're indoctrinated to be completely disconnected. So Ultra Love is also a brand that's really endeavoring to assist people in making connection with the self. And then ultimately, anytime any of us make a connection to the self, that is a transformational regenesis aspect from within. That reconnection point is then that connector point to like all of your experience, and the good, the bad, the ugly. But once you're connected, then, and with support, with help, with guidance or whatever, usually what happens is that we can shift through some of those deeper held patterns within the cells, the DNA, because that's ultimately a lot of this paradigm shift is actually about us as beings transforming our DNA structure to become elevated, to become more, I'm going to say like streamlined in how we feel energy, deduce thought, and then project into our reality that which we desire to see. And there's a lot more of us desiring to see more unity, more everybody on an even playing field, more like um access for everybody. Like it's not basically it's we squeezed off the life force, so it's like not fun. It's not fun, and plus it's like there's a destruction combustion aspect. So yeah, I think that's it for today. That's all I have to say. I hope that you guys are having an awesome day. I really appreciate you. If you want to book a session, these are intuitive readings, you could say, or intuitive sessions. Feel free to do so. If you want to book a coaching package, I would love to work with you. If these messages that I share from my heart resonate with you, then it's likely that we will resonate as a dynamic duo, uplifting and supporting one another. And Oh, yeah, I have a Morocco retreat coming up, 5 days in sunny Morocco. Surfing, yoga, chats, October 8th to 12th. Feel free to book it. It's early bird price $5.99, goes up to $6.99 after August 1st. And that is all. I really hope I get to meet you in Morocco, and otherwise, have a sesh, meet you on the old electronical FaceTime, and may the force be with you, basically. Lots of love. Peace out, you guys. I'll speak to you real soon. Take care. Bye.